Yo, 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 welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. And before we get to our guest today, we have a big shout out for Living Sisu. Living Sisu is a platform and app that wants to give you all the tools to have success in your sport. Their main objective is to activate your lifestyle. So it's for active people. Enjoy discounts at companies like BioSteel, 30% off, Body Logics, the Goalie Guild, all his books are discounted. Roan, Lululemon for men, 20% off, online stretching programs with Eccentrics, 1 full month free. They got super silent massage guns, 20% off those. And it's a great quality. It's way less expensive than a Theragun, and it's great quality. So there's so many more discounts that you guys will need to just become a member to see. So they want to provide you with anything you need for success. So come join the community. I'm a part of it. A bunch of other athletes are a part of it. So it's free to join. It takes 20 seconds to get exclusive offers to your sport, and it's definitely worth it. So do us a huge favor and go sign up for Living Sisu's membership. It's free, takes 20 seconds. So go do it, and we'll see you there. Living Sisu is a great company. We know one of the co-founders, Zach Fricali. He's a great guy. He's the co-founder. He does a lot of live streams on Instagram at Living Sisu, with a bunch of elite athletes, and you learn a lot from like the athletes' determination, their resiliency, everything to what made them become successful. So it's been a great experience so far. So go on. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. So go sign up. Yo, welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. I'm Jack, and I'm alongside my co-host Tyler. And in today's episode, we are joined by a very special guest, current professional goaltender Peter the Mad Dog DeSalvo. Peter is currently playing with the Knoxville Ice Bears of the SPHL. Peter played juniors in the Ontario Hockey League for the Sarnia Sting, Barrie Colts, and the Oshawa Generals, before playing 2 years of college hockey in the CIS for Acadia University, before going pro and spending times in leagues such as the ECHL, the SPHL, and the AIHL. So the Mad Dog has been known for being called the Henrik Lundqvist of the SPHL, and is coming up on taking the all-time win record of the SPHL with 104 wins. That's the record. He has 101 right now. So welcome to the show, the Mad Dog, Peter DeSalvo.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. So, like, how have you been? Like, you're coming in with 101 wins right now, and you're getting to, you want to get to 104 to be the top guy in history of the SPHL. So, like, how's everything going?
Everything's been going good. You know, I'm only the second goalie to get 100 wins in the league, so that's pretty surreal too. And you know, coming when I first started pro hockey, that record was never even on my mind. I didn't even know what it was until like last year when I knew I was catching up on it. So with everything, you know, I'm just blessed and happy to be playing hockey, especially in this time of what's going on in the world, right?
Yeah, exactly.
How does it feel to get the opportunity to be able to stick around in a league like that and be able to pile up all those wins?
Very fortunate. You know, I bounced around quite a bit, especially my fifth year. I ended up playing for 3 different teams that year, but you know, I just kept battling through whatever I was going through, and just made wherever I was work, and I always try to get better every single day. I'm never really content with where I'm at. So I'm always trying to get to that next step for myself, and just making sure I'm ready to go every day on the ice.
Yeah, that's a great mindset to have, and especially as a goaltender, like, you have to like make sure your body's like 100% each and every day. So
Yeah,
it's good that you have that mindset, and like you're doing whatever you can to help stay in the league and help and go for that win record.
yeah, exactly. Like I know I'm basically labeled as an SPHL goalie, and like there's nothing wrong with that, right? And I've had my stints in the ECHL. My first year pro, I actually started in the Central League when that was still a league with the Brampton Beast. And, you know, just you never want to be content or happy with where you are. You should always want to try to get better. No matter what league you're in, if you know you're going to be stuck in a league or wherever you are, you always want to get better. Even the NHL guys, they always want to get better every single day and outdo everybody else. Like, you can't tell me that even though it won't happen, you can't tell me every single guy in the league wants to be better than Connor McDavid. You know, it's just even Connor McDavid wants to outdo himself every single day.
How does it feel for you, like Jack said when he was introducing you, how does it feel to be compared to a guy like Henrik Lundqvist? Like he said, you're the Henrik Lundqvist of the SPHL. Like, how does it feel to be compared to a guy like him who has a really historic resume?
Yeah, and that made me chuckle the first time I heard that, but like it hit a good nerve. It's like feels good to be called that, you know. And I respect the hell out of Lundqvist. He's been a phenomenal goalie. He's been in the NHL forever, and seeing him back on the ice a couple of days ago in his Washington gear is like, okay, here we go. We're going to see the King again. Hopefully we can see him this season and possibly next season one more time. And you know, he's just the guy that battles, and like that's somebody I could follow with that. Just keep battling through everything, and I'd like to see him win a cup. If he wins it with Washington, that'd be unreal. You know, you never really know who's going to win the Stanley Cup at the end of the day. You never know, and just in the hockey world in general, you never know what's going to happen. Just you got to look at the right guys to model yourself after.
Yeah, that's unreal. And just I like how like you have to get guys to model after, and like going like Henrik Lundqvist, like he's a great example of that. Like he's maybe he's probably the best goaltender that hasn't won a Stanley Cup in history of the NHL so far, and just it's like he's doing everything he can to do that and like help his team win. He's getting better every day. He's coming back from his heart surgery, and hopefully get to see him this season or next season again. And just it's amazing what that dude goes through and like how much of a grinder he is, and that he's pushing himself every single day, even throughout this tough time.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, it's heartbreaking seeing some guys never winning a cup. Like one of the other great goalies that never got to win a cup was Curtis Joseph. And like he tried to keep going. Like you saw at the end of his career when he ended up in Arizona when they were still the Phoenix Coyotes, and Calgary, and back with Toronto. And you saw he was battling through, but he just didn't have it in him anymore. Like he wasn't playing at the same compete level he did when he was first with Toronto, and his first little bit with Detroit and all that. So hopefully Lundqvist can keep it going. You know, it's been tough the last couple of years in New York for him, especially with the team in that rebuilding phase now. Doesn't have like the same lineup in front of him to help him, but you know, he's still making big saves every single night. So hopefully something can come out of it for him.
Yeah, for sure. And just what do you look at him like? What do you see when you look at him, and like what you want to implement into your game?
Lundqvist, the best thing that he does is his depth control in the net. I know he doesn't challenge a lot, but a lot of plays where he's playing deep, it's actually really smart because it's transitioning from one side of the ice to the other is actually a lot easier to get across. That's probably the one thing, and his mental game is pretty strong too. You know, he's very loose, he's very relaxed, he's a great team leader in the locker room as well. And you know, you always want to model yourself after somebody like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like the mindset's a big part of being a successful goaltender, because you have to be strong day in, day out. Like you can't let the little things get to you. And like just like his depth control as well. Like he's doing it efficiently. Like some people might not agree, but it's the right play for him. And you can get easily across and make a big save if he has to. Like it all depends on like the goaltender and like how successful he is throughout like what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly. And his compete's there. You know, like it might not look as much as some other guys. Like you look at guys like Fleury and Bobrovsky and how aggressive they are, and you're like, oh, look at their compete. Well, some guys just aren't as athletic like that, but their compete is still there. They just play a completely different way, you know. And they're still aggressive and they're still competing as hard as they can. It's just everybody's body is different. Not everybody can move the exact same way.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to go into your season a little bit, since you're playing games right now. So like, how's the season going for you, and like how weird is it playing like throughout like everything we're playing right now, and just being thankful to be at the rink and actually playing a game?
Yeah, as far as like the way the season is, like the main things that are different, that the rinks aren't at full capacity. So in Knoxville, we have the we had the smallest rink in terms of fans. I'm pretty sure, definitely in the ice size, yeah. But fans, I'm pretty sure we hold the least amount, and I think each rink can only go by percentage. So we can have 1,500 fans in a night, and I'm pretty sure we get that just about every single night. So technically, we have a sold out barn every single night, which is awesome. There's no interaction with fans, so we're not involved in the community at all this year. But in terms of like for the rink and all that kind of stuff, the only thing that's different is that we get tested every single week for COVID. So that stuff happens, and then if there, I'm not going to get into details, but like if something bad was to happen, like basically like the only thing I could say is like guys just can't play. It's just protocol. Like you've seen it happen in the NHL too, right? But
Yeah.
We've been pretty fortunate here to not have really any cases. Like I think something happened before I got here because I wasn't in Knoxville at the beginning of the year, but we've gone past that. So
Yeah. So you were supposed to be in Danbury in the federal, right?
yeah, I signed there because all the SP teams had their guys ready to go for the year, and then I got word that Knoxville needed 2 new goalies actually, and I called, and within my call, I went and got a COVID test, came back negative, and I was there 6 hours later. I was here 6 hours later.
How crazy was that? Like you're probably in Danbury, I'm guessing, right? Before that?
No, I was actually in Fayetteville, North Carolina, with my wife at my in-laws' place. She's from Fayetteville. Where I met her there when I played for the Marksmen a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it's like how crazy was it to go from Fayetteville to Knoxville and be there in like 6 hours?
Kind of used to this type of stuff by now. You know, like the year I played in Fayetteville, I started there, got traded to Peoria, got cut from Peoria, went to Macon. And then at the end of the year in Macon, I went back home to Canada and flew to Australia. So I did like 4 15-hour drives throughout the year, and then had to do 26 hours worth of flights.
Not a big deal to you. Just a normal travel day for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, do all rings have fans in the stands, or do some not have?
All rinks do. Just every rink is different. Just depends on the state and the capacity of the rink.
Yeah, that's at least good that you don't have. Yeah.
I think.
Oh, go ahead.
Pardon?
Sorry.
Oh yeah. The one rink that can hold the most right now, I'm pretty sure, is Pensacola, because Florida doesn't have any restrictions with anything. They're just going by league protocol.
Are you used to the kind of like limited fans, or are you still kind of like getting used to it? Because I mean, obviously, you guys, the fans like to pack in, right? So, are you kind of used to the whole limited fan situation?
It depends on what rink we're in. I don't want to say what rink because I don't want those fans to hate me even more.
Yeah, that's respectable. So then so I want to start off going into like your career a little bit here, and like first I want, like, I'm sure everyone wants to know this, but why is your nickname the Mad Dog?
I got asked this the last podcast I did. When I was playing baseball, well, t-ball actually, when I was like 5 years old, 4 years old, something like that. And the team was called the Mad Dogs. And after wins, our coach would get us in a huddle, have us start cheering, start barking like dogs. And I would keep doing it in the car after games in front of my parents. So they would kind of call me that every now and then, like especially if I was living back home. And then on my first goalie mask, they then just ended up putting it on my mask. My mask I was playing for my hometown, the Oakville Rangers, so we looked like New York. So they got my mask painted like Mike Richter's. Just instead of the Statue of Liberty on top, they put a bulldog and put Mad Dog across the back.
That's awesome. Just that nickname stuck. So that's unreal. And like, who wouldn't want to have the nickname the Mad Dog? Like that's awesome.
It's funny. It was actually it was just Mad Dog at first, and then when I got to college, one of the guys on my team said, "No, you're not Mad Dog. You're the Mad Dog. You're the only one." So that's where the Mad Dog got added into.
That's awesome. Just I can't explain it. Like that's a sick nickname. That's probably one of the sickest nicknames I've heard. So That's awesome that you're repping that.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, so you grew up in Oakville, Ontario. So, like, what was youth hockey like, and some of the teams you played for during that time, and playing hockey in Oakville?
I only played in Oakville my first 3 years of rep hockey. My first year of hockey was just house league. There was no like rep yet. So, and at that time too, kids weren't allowed to be goalie full time. Everybody had to be a player, and every kid had to take turns being goalie. But I got my dad to have him let me be goalie first because like I wanted to be a goalie, but my dad's like, let's see if you actually like it first, and I did. And then the next year I went straight up to AAA hockey and stayed all the way there until my OHL career. So I did 3 years with the Oakville Rangers. Then I left the OMHA league and went to the GTHL, the Greater Toronto Hockey League. Went to the Mississauga Senators for 2 years. And my first year in Oakville, my first year in Mississauga, I actually played with John Tavares both years. And then after the Senators, I went to the Vaughan Kings, then the Mississauga Rebels for a year, and then I went to Don Mills Flyers my last 2 years of minor hockey, and that's where I got drafted into the OHL from.
Yeah, so like, what was it like playing with John Tavares, and just was he as good when you guys were younger than he is now, and like, was he one of the top dogs in those leagues?
Oh yeah, he 36. I don't remember the first year. We were 7 years old. I only remember this because it was an easy stat to remember. When we were 10-year-olds playing with the Senators, he had 50 goals in 36 games.
Wow, that's crazy.
He scored in every single regular season game.
Dang, that's crazy. But
yeah, that's just
did you know that he was going to the show right from there?
We all knew, and like he lived and breathed hockey. Like we were actually really close when we were kids. Like if he saw me today, he'd give me the time of day, 100%. He's just that genuine of a person. I don't think there's anything negative to say about the guy, you know. And but growing up, like we were really close. Like we were always driving. Our parents were always taking turns driving us to practices and all that kind of stuff. And we used to train at the same gym together too, and do the same on and off ice training as well. But as we got older, like we knew he was gonna make it to the NHL, especially like so like the first year I played with him, he was playing. We were the same age, and then the next year he went to play with the kids a year older, the 1989s. And he did that up until I came to the Senators, where he was. He came down a year because he knew a bunch of us from Oakville coming to the team, so he wanted to play with us. And the following year, he went back up to the 89s, and even then with the 89s, he was getting called up to play with the 88s, and he was scoring goals against guys 2 years older than him.
Wow, that's crazy, but it just tells you the type of guy he is, especially since you grew close to him. Like he's like a nice guy, and like you knew from the start that he was going to be an NHL star.
Yeah, I'm not a Leafs fan, but I got all the respect for him. I wish him, if the Leafs win the Stanley Cup this year, I'd only be happy because he's on the team, because he's like one guy that really deserves it.
Yeah, for sure.
What's it like establishing that kind of friendship with him, since you guys are very young, and maintaining that friendship throughout childhood, obviously playing hockey together, growing up, and then what does it mean to you to share these memories of like achieving your highest dreams at the highest level?
No, it's definitely something I'll always remember, and like something I'll cherish, right? Like I know that sounds cliche, but it's true, especially because he's never done anything bad to make me not want to like him or that guy. We're not friends now because we've gone like this. We've grown apart.
Yeah.
I don't see him every day. I don't talk to him or anything like that. But like if I was to see him, he would know who I am, and I would know. Obviously, I know who he is and all that, right? So, but yeah, I know he's just the type of guy. If he knows who you are, he's going to give you the time of day. He'll chat with you. Like even when I was only seeing him at rinks, and my dad would know he was going to be there, he'd give my dad a good 15-minute conversation outside in the parking lot, just because we've known him forever. So it comes a long way.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just that he does that, and like it proves that he's a good guy and all that.
Definitely.
Yeah, so going on to your OHL career here a little bit, like what was the junior hockey process like back then to get a shot in the OHL for the Sarnia Sting where you started off?
So then there was, I'm pretty sure it's the same now in terms of like how the draft works in terms of numbers and all that, but you got 15 rounds. That year was the year Stamkos was drafted first overall, and I was with him in Sarnia. So obviously he's first overall, and then the second round came around, and so the first round draft picks, you can't trade first round draft picks in the OHL, like the actual pick itself. Like once a player is drafted, and yeah, you can trade the player, right?
Yeah.
But the only time a team can have like 2 picks in the first round is if like their first rounder doesn't commit to the team. And like he's not committing, he's not doing anything, he's not going to go anywhere with the team. So they get basically the following year in a draft, they'll get that same pick back along with wherever they finish. So like say a team first overall pick said, no, I'm not going, I don't want to play there. The next year they'll have probably, I think it would be like I don't know if it would be the first overall pick, but it would be at least the second overall pick, plus wherever they finished in the standings for the draft that year as well. So like say like they finished in first that year, they would have the 21st overall pick as well.
Yeah, that's a very interesting way to do it.
Yeah, it definitely is. But so the second round, Sarnia had the second round, Sarnia had 2 second round picks, the 21st overall and the 23rd overall. I was the 23rd overall pick. I was the first goalie drafted that year. And then when it comes to teams choosing their roster, I actually started in junior B that year with the Chatham Maroons, and I got called up in November after I actually just came back from an injury because their goalie Sebastian Dom went to the Road Juniors for Denmark, and then when he came back, they traded him to Sudbury, so I ended up staying the rest of the year.
Yeah, so like what was it like getting? You go ahead and you finish.
Oh well. So like that year with I didn't play that much that year because I was hurt at the beginning of the year. I didn't see much playing time. I think I only got like 2 starts with Sarnia that year, and I got put in I think 5 times. So it was got me a little bit of experience. And then the next year is when I was really prepped for it, and felt like I played well. And I ended up getting traded to Barrie, where I spent the next 3 years before getting traded to Oshawa.
Yeah, so like you said, you played like 5 games with Sarnia, and you were with the Chatham Maroons before that. So like, what was the transition like going from youth hockey to playing juniors in the WOHL and then going into the OHL?
Definitely a lot. It's different. It's weird. It's such a long time ago. It's hard to really remember. But like for me, I was always just in that mindset, like I can do this. Like there was no doubt in my mind. And then as a young kid, though, you know, you're a little arrogant, you're a little cocky, especially me. I was the first goalie drafted, so that was kind of in my head a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, but at the end of the day, I got past it, and you learn things as you go along, as you get older. You mature with time.
Yeah, so like what was like getting that shot in the OHL with Sarnia, seeing like what was that first experience of being in the OHL like, and really getting a good look at some really good competition in the OHL?
Well, my first game, which is a preseason game before I ended up going to Chatham, the opening draw was Stamkos versus Patrick Kane.
That's not a bad start.
Oh my God.
No. So all of us rookies too. So it was at the time though, it's like a little surreal. The goalie was Steve Mason, who had just got drafted by Columbus. So going up against him was a little intimidating too. So, but you know, the transitioning, it's definitely the main thing was the speed. And the other thing for me was playing with a trapezoid behind me. That was my first time doing that. So
yeah, so like what was that adjustment like, and just playing with a trapezoid?
being aware of when to go play the pucks, like if you want to try to grab it before it crosses that line, like if a guy dumps it in, or just making sure you're not mishandling it and all that kind of stuff. But it's not too bad, especially now when they made it it's 2 feet wider on each side now compared to what it used to be. So
Yeah. Did you take any penalties during when you were first learning the trapezoid?
yeah, I've taken a couple, but they're like borderline. Like I'm waiting for the puck to just cross over, and it's like, okay, I think I can get away with it, and I didn't. There was one where I called the ref out on this too because he knew he was wrong for this, but I went and stopped the puck, and then I pushed it behind the net through like 2 inches, like the little corner. I pushed it through there to go behind the net. I didn't touch it though. Like I pushed it, my stick was off the ice, the puck went through, went behind it, and I went back and touched it. The ref called a penalty on me for it. He says, "Oh, it's because you played it through the trapezoid." And I was like, I didn't touch it in the trapezoid. The rule is if I touch it. He goes, "No, it's if you play it." Oh, so every time I bring the puck around, I should have a penalty? And he just shook his head and went and skated away because he knew I was right.
Wow, that's
BS.
that is, and just in that terms, like you should get a penalty every time you rim the puck, like you said, because it happens every time. But
yeah, puck's in the trapezoid, right? Even if it's in the air.
yeah, exactly. As stupid as that sounds, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like throughout like your junior career, like what were some of like the biggest takeaways that you learned throughout those years to help you bring into like your college game and then eventually when you went pro?
Well, the best advice I ever learned is actually through my goalie coach, who was my goalie coach in Barrie, and he was my goalie coach in minor hockey growing up too. He's actually with the New York Islanders now. He's their head goalie coach, Piero Greco. The best advice he ever gave me, and it was when I was in Barrie, was do not worry about what the other guys in front of you are doing. Control only what you can control. Okay, you can't control what's around you, so you can't worry about what other guys are doing. Like obviously, like you got to try to have your communication with your players and all that kind of stuff too. But at the end of the day, that's all you can do is communicate with them, let them know like where you think that they should be, but just control what you can do.
Yeah, that's great advice because a lot of people like they'll worry about like what their defenders are doing and just what the other players are doing, like not worrying about their game and controlling what they can control. So that's a good tip, and just like you have to just worry about yourself because not everyone's gonna be for you and for on your side make the smart play all the time. So it's you just got to do what you can do to stop the puck.
Yeah, the only thing that's going to make things happen for yourself is the things that you do, and there's going to be hurdles that you got to jump along the way. Obviously, like not everybody can do everything themselves, but at the end of the day, when it comes to playing games, playing your game, you just do what you do.
Yeah, exactly. So then throughout like the years after you played in the Sarnia organization, you spent time with the Barrie Colts and then you went to Oshawa. So like what was it like playing for those organizations in both Barrie and Oshawa, and some of your favorite moments from playing those years?
Barrie, I'll probably cherish the most because I was there the longest. I'm still in contact with my billets that I had there, very close to me. I got to play in the Canada Russia Challenge when I was there again for like junior tryouts. I got to go to the OHL final that year as well. Lost to Windsor in the finals. That was actually a tough playoff for me because I ended up getting surgery in the middle of playoffs, and I came back a week and a half later after surgery.
Yeah, so like what was that like? Because like it was obviously really hard. So like what did you have to do to like help yourself prepare to get surgery and then like you're back like a week after?
Well, put it this way, I was at the rink from before surgery up until like the break, which was the day I had surgery. And then I was back at the rink the next day after surgery. I was basically at the rink from 9 a.m. until 5 o'clock in the afternoon, doing workouts, rehab, and everything just to get myself prepped. And then the first 2 games of the finals, my goalie partner wasn't looking so hot. So my coach said, "Can you play?" And I just didn't even hesitate. I said, "Yes." And my trainer and I just did everything we needed to do to prep my knee. But even so, there was times where you could see like I was battling through it. Like my knee was swelling up like 5 times the size of what it was. It was knee surgery that I had, but it was the finals and it was do or die. So I just battled through it. I just did what I needed to do for the team.
Yeah, that's crazy that you went through that and just like, but you'll do whatever you can, especially in a do or die situation, like to play. Like if your team needs you, like you're gonna be there and you're gonna battle it out no matter what.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And it's crazy too, because the injury happened originally when I was 15, and then the injury just got as worse as it could be 4 years later when I was 19.
Wow,
And
that's unheard of.
and the crazy thing too is I was just scraping the crease before the second period of game 2 of the playoffs against Brampton, and my knee just locked on me completely. I couldn't straighten out my leg completely, and I played on it like that the rest of the game too.
Wow, that's
How did you manage that?
Yeah.
Honestly, it felt better when I was going down. So I basically just, anytime I was down on the ice, I just stayed down as often as I could rather than being in my stance. And I just basically played on my knees majority of the time.
That's wow. Crazy. I could not imagine doing that. That must have been really tough. But you battled through it, but yeah, you got through it. So that's all that matters.
Too.
Yeah, for real.
And won.
that makes it even better.
Yeah.
So then after your stint in your career in the OHL, you went on to play college hockey, where you played for Acadia University in the CIS. So like, what was the process like to find a school that best fit you and gave you an opportunity to play college hockey?
Well, they recruited me. At first, I thought I was going to go to St. Mary's University, and I wish I did instead at this point, but not bashing like the school or my teammates over there. But the hockey situation itself would have been better for me if I had gone to St. Mary's. But, recruiters do what they got to do to get players to where they got to go at times, sometimes, unfortunately. But at the end of the day, though, I left after only 2 years because, like, I came to realize, like, for me, hockey and school don't go together. And for me personally, me and school don't go together. I'm just one of those guys that's not meant to go to school. School's not for me. I know a lot of people tell their kids you got to go to school so you can do this. And it's not true. You don't need to go to school to become successful and get a good paying job when you're older. So that's the reason I left, because basically school wasn't for me and my hockey situation there was just terrible. So I just decided to leave, and I was fortunate to get a pro tryout that year.
Yeah, for sure. School's really not for everyone. So it just depends on the person. And yeah, exactly. And then it's like, did you have any expectations going into your first year of college hockey, or were you just like, you're just going to go with the flow of everything and see what happens?
I did definitely go with the flow, but I was under the impression that as long as I had a good preseason, that I was going to be the number one guy. And I outplayed my goalie partner the entire preseason. There's one road trip when we were in the States playing NCAA schools where we both got lit up. But other than those 2 games, if you look at the other games, I dominated my games compared to him. And then I ended up becoming the backup that year.
Yeah. So like, how hard was that to become the backup, and like, what did you do to like help yourself get trust and like help yourself become the starter and be the guy in your second year going into it?
Well, I got lucky, to be honest. I got lucky the second year to play because the first game of the year, same goalie partner, coach went with him again. And that my second year, I went in knowing like, okay, I'm the backup again. There's no chance that he's going to play me over him. And then the first game he got pulled, and on the last goal that my goalie partner let in, he ended up getting hurt on the play. So coach had no choice but to go with me, and I ended up going on a roll. So basically he had no choice but to keep me in as long as I was playing well. But I was getting head games played with me the entire year, and then I finally broke come playoff time.
Yeah. So
I ended up becoming backup in the playoffs.
Yeah. So you played in 22 games during the regular season. So like, What was it like getting that experience that you needed to play college hockey and just get yourself a role to maybe get a pro tryout in the year following?
Uh, it was definitely good. Like, it definitely gave me a confidence boost because, like, even the guys on my team, like my teammates there, were all like they knew I was playing well and everything, and my goalie partner was supportive. Like, even when he was playing over me, I was supportive of him. I'm never gonna tear down one of my teammates like that, and getting that playing experience was definitely good for me. Made me feel good about myself, definitely, and I knew that I could. I knew that I could play. I've proved it time in and time out, right? And then I just trying to get that pro tryout though. It was tough because a lot of coaches that I was reaching out to before Brampton finally gave me a chance would just say, "Oh, you only played CIS, so I don't know if we can take you." And I'm just saying to myself, all these other teams take CIS guys all the time. What are you talking about? Like, just sometimes coaches just make excuses and try to not bring you in, or just so they don't want to like beat around. They're just beating around the bush.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really weird how that works out, but you did get pro tryout opportunities. Like, what was that like, and just being able to finally go to a tryout and see what you can do?
It was awesome. Like, it was close to home. It was the Brampton Beasts. It was their first year, and I'd been to I'd been to NHL camps before. I went to St. Louis twice, so I kind of had an idea of what it was going to be like, especially because Brampton that year was affiliated with Tampa Bay, and there were some similarities, but it's different because it's the Central League compared to the NHL. You're not going to have the same funding and all that kind of stuff
Yeah.
and stuff. But in terms of like compete wise and all, yeah, it was definitely the same. And I didn't make the team, but then I got recommended to go to the SPHL. And I reached out, and the coach told me like use him as a reference to get me a spot. And I emailed every team, and luckily Pensacola's coach, who's still there now, or Rod Aldoff, called me right away and said, "Yeah, we want you. Can you get here tomorrow?" And I begged my parents to buy me a plane ticket, and I was on a plane the next day to Florida.
That's unreal how that works out, and how you're able to go from like the coaches like not wanting you and then getting a tryout in Pensacola and see that's just unreal.
Yeah, and we won a championship that year too in Florida, so that was pretty cool too.
Even better.
It was a little bit of an up and down, not battle, but just up and down season for me with playing, getting injured, and then ended up becoming a backup at the end of the day. But I still had. It was probably at that time was the most fun year of hockey I'd ever had.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go back to when you went to the NHL camp, the St. Louis Blues camp. Like, what was that experience like? And especially since you're being with an NHL team and just having like that experience and learning a lot from that time that you had there.
That was it was a surreal moment. I never made it to the main camp with them. I just ended up at their rookie development like pre-camp, and played in the Travis City, Michigan tournament. That was cool. Like, so my goalie partner was Jake Allen, and I met Ben Bishop the second year that I was there. And as a Montreal fan, the second year I was there was when Halak first got traded there from Montreal, when he had that sick run with him. And I met him, and that's like when I got real starstruck. But there was a couple of other guys there that I already knew. Like Petrangelo was there with me, and I've known him since we were 10. And we played together in Barrie as well. Koliakovo was there, the player, and I knew him because his brother was a goalie, and we worked with the same goalie coach. So like the one day like I was at like the practice rink before heading to Traverse City, all the like the main roster were there as well. So I got to meet them that year. But like being treated like a pro, and just seeing like the access to what they have and everything, it just makes you want to be there that much more. Like, especially only being at the practice rink too. Like, the practice rink's pretty insane, and it's connected to the main mall in St. Louis, so that was pretty cool too.
That's not a bad place to practice. That's for sure.
Oh, not at all. And I forget if it was my first year or my second year there. I think it was my first. It may have been both, but the one of the coaches that was there that was with the Peoria Rivermen, who were in the AHL at the time, was my old assistant coach from when I was in Barrie too. That from my first year in Barrie, Drake Barhowski. So it was nice having him there too. And like I knew I had a coach that I can actually a little more comfortable to talk to while I was there and all. But it's a cool experience. You get to play against all these other guys. Like Dustin Tokarski was there one year with Tampa Bay. I can't remember who some of the other goalies that were there. I can't remember who they were, but like we played against Dallas, we played against Columbus. I can only imagine some of the other guys that were there like that are in the NHL right now.
Yeah, that must have been like a crazy experience. And like, what was it like being like starstruck, like when you met Halak and you were playing with Halak? Like, what was that like? And just how did you get over it? Like eventually, like how was that?
Oh, well, I was on the trainer's bed getting my physical done, and he it was his first day there. He had just gotten to St. Louis like the night before, so he was like introducing himself to everybody. So that's like the main reason why I met him, and he said, "Hey, like good luck this weekend, blah blah." And I was just like, "Halak just told me good luck this weekend at the tournament, blah blah." Like, just thinking about it now makes me starstruck. So.
Yeah, that's crazy. He seems like the new guy coming in. He thinks you're a regular around there.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he knew I was a rookie getting a physical done.
maybe you'll never know, but like that whole like thing like must have been so much fun just being in St. Louis and participating in their rookie camp. Like that must have been unreal.
Yeah, no, definitely something I'll remember forever. And just a lot of these experiences are just they're life lessons, I guess you can say, especially when it comes to like sports and all that kind of stuff. Like my wife and I hope to have a family someday, and if my kid decides to play hockey, I can guide him in a way that my parents couldn't have, because I know like where the I know where like some of like the behind the scenes mistakes can be made, so I can help my kids later down the road like not make those same mistakes that I did.
Yeah, absolutely. So then going into Pensacola a little bit here, you guys won the championship that year, like you said. Like, what was that whole experience like in Pensacola, and like everything you learned from your first year pro and going in the playoffs and learning from the guys in the playoffs, because playoff hockey is a whole different breed.
Well, like I didn't play the playoffs. I was the backup goalie for that. But like we were legit a ECHL team, the skill that we had on the team. But the thing you got to remember about, I tell this to everybody, the thing you got to remember about the SPHL 8 years ago compared to now, it's not the same league that it was. Like when my first year in the league, each guy on the team had like one or two designated guys that were just fighters. Like they were just there to fight, and line brawls would happen in like every game just about. And not just one or two guys. I mean, full on five guys fighting at a time, and at least one or two goalie fights a year. I think my first year there was 4 or 5 goalie fights that year. And I was one of them.
What? Let's go into that. Like, what happened during that fight, and just like what started, and like everything that led up to it.
3 weeks prior, we were playing the team that the team's goalie that I fought. We were playing them for 3 weeks prior. We were beating them like 6-1, 5-1 or 6-1, something like that. And he wanted to come down. There was a lot of line brawl broke out, and he wanted to fight me, but I said no because we had an emergency backup. I know we're up by 4 or 5 goals, but you never know with an e-bug, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We didn't have Dave Ayers to have our backs that day. So, but so 3 weeks later, we're in their rink beating them around the same score. And I asked my goalie partner in between the second and third, hey, like if he wants to fight, should I? And he goes, I'll ask him if he wants to, but I can't make it. I'm like, whatever. And then with like 7 minutes left in the game, one of my forwards comes down to me and says, hey, he'll fight you if the time is right. 3 minutes later in the game, everybody's off to the side. He looks at me and I said, okay, let's go. We just squared off at center ice and danced.
That's awesome. Just like, did you end up winning that fight?
No. I ended up with 7 stitches on the inside of my lip.
Oh,
that is not fun. But I could only imagine getting the goalie fight in was fun.
Well, I made his lips swell up and I gave him a bruise on his forehead, but I'm the one with the bloody lip, so I'm gonna give myself a loss on that one. He threw way more punches than me too, but I give the guy a lot of respect too. Especially he actually messaged me the next day through social media and said, hey, like, I don't want any bad blood between us, like no beef. I just wanted to say thanks for like giving me that. I actually just quit the team today to take a full-time job, so that was my last game. So thanks for helping me go out with a bang.
Oh, wow. You never would have expected that, and just
no, it caught me off guard. And he even said to me, he said, hey, thanks for making my bottom lip swell up. And I said, well, thanks for cutting my top lip open. And we swapped pictures and we had side by sides going around from team to team.
Hey, that's a bonding moment right there.
Yeah.
And throughout like your career, you also got into another fight with Storm Phaneuf, right?
Yeah, that was not last year, the year before.
Yeah, so like what went down for that fight? Because I saw highlights of that game. That was a wild one.
So Storm and I are like, we're not like close buddies, but we're good hockey buddies, you know.
Yeah.
And we had talked before, and he's one day we're on the bench talking. We're both backing up. He goes, man, I gotta get in a goalie fight. He's like, I came close last year, but how jumped the bench and stopped me from doing it, blah, blah, and I'm just going, well, I said to him, I look at him, if it ever comes time that it has to happen, I won't back down from him. He goes, really? I'm just like, no, like, I know you're not going to kill me or anything like that. Like, I know that if I asked you to stop, you was like, yeah, but like, I respect that. Thank you. And then like a week or two later, I think it was, one of my players ran him and he started to skate out. And he told me like he wanted to fight my player first, but 2 guys on his team already had him. So he just skated down at me because he was ticked off about the whole thing. So then we just I dropped my gloves, and he said to me before we grabbed on, he goes, sorry, Pete, I'm pissed. And I'm like, I know, you might see me in the video say, I know. And then we just grabbed on, and you know, he shook me at first, got me down to one knee from shaking me, and I got up and we both threw 2 or 3 punches each, but I was so tired at that point because I'd faced 40-something shots. We only had 14 guys on the bench to start the game, including me.
Wow.
We were playing short that game, and then as soon as I told him I was done, he let go right away, and he said, he's like, are you okay? Are you okay? Like, he's making sure I was fine. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I'm just too tired. I can't. So
yeah, at least he had the respect and respected what when you wanted to stop and not keep hammering away.
Yeah, I've only seen one goalie in this league not have respect for the guys that he fights because all the guy wanted to do was fight. I think he's got like 7 SP fights under his belt as a goalie.
That's a bit crazy. Yeah, you never experienced 7 goalie fights in your career, but that dude obviously has.
He is always looking for. He had one fight where him and the other goalie took their jerseys off and then took their arms out of the one sleeve of the chest protector to make the fight easier for each other.
Oh,
wow, that you never hear that.
You can find that on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to look that up after this interview. So like throughout like your pro career, like you face ups and downs throughout your career, especially like during your first year. So like, what are some of the biggest things you had to learn and overcome during those downsides?
So my first year, I sprained my ankle pretty early on, and I was on a run. Like, I was playing the majority of the games. Rod, our coach, said to me, "Hey, like, you're our guy right now. I'm going to keep running with you. And then first game after he said that is when I sprained my ankle. And the worst thing I did that year with that was I didn't keep in shape. I got very out of shape from that, and I regret it because it made my off season even harder. But like when I came back and I played, like I did well. Like I got back like in the ice shape, but I wasn't in the same shape that I was when I first came in. And that was the one thing that I really regret doing. Like I just took it for granted. But you know, at the same time, like I was 22, living on the beach in Pensacola, Florida, playing hockey.
Not a bad place.
It was, for me, it was just have fun and play hockey. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't care about going to the gym or anything like that. That was one thing. That's one thing I regret doing, was just not taking my recovery seriously enough. Like I was doing my prehab for my ankle because I knew that like I can't just do nothing. But I learned from that because a couple of years later in Mississippi, I sprained my other ankle. But there I was in the gym every single day doing extra exercises, doing everything I could to come back. And I ended up coming back in 3 weeks compared to 7 weeks.
Improvement right there.
Yeah, exactly. So at least I learned from it.
Yeah, exactly. You do stuff and you learn from it. So those experiences come in handy for sure when they do go the wrong way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so then you go on to play in Mississippi for the River Kings. So like, what was playing hockey in Mississippi like in the atmosphere there, especially since you don't see a pro team in Mississippi?
It was different for sure, but it was, in terms of like how things were for us, the only thing that sucked about it was we barely got any fans. Like the only time we surpassed 2,000 fans, I think, was which is very rare to even get close to 2,000. I think the only time we surpassed it was the field trip games where we had 5,000 kids from schools coming to watch. But other than that, like we had some nights where they would say we had 1,500, but you can count maybe 500 people in the stands. That was the only real thing that sucked about it. I don't think the team marketed, advertised the team very well, right? But you know, it was what it was. But you know, we were taken care of so well there. We had a fantastic booster club, and we had sponsors from there that were helping us out with household items and taking us out for lunch and all that kind of stuff, just to help us save a little bit of money here and there, which was amazing. And you know, my sponsors from that booster club, I still talk to today as well. Like they're going to be a part of my life forever. I would call my sponsor mom my American mama. And but you know, the awesome people down there in Mississippi. I definitely go back to visit, especially being near Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah, that's awesome that they're able to help you out and everything that they did. Like, but what was it like playing with 5,000 kids in the stand? Like they're probably screaming their heads off, and like that atmosphere
was the whole game. That's all it was the whole game. You just played a screaming in the background the entire time. And then when they
can't even hear the whistle.
No, and then the on the scoreboard they put the get loud thing and they get even louder. I didn't even think that would be possible.
Yeah, that's insane. You wouldn't think that it could get any louder, but there's a whole different notch that gets taken up when it says the get loud. Like that's crazy.
The thing I sucked about the most that these were kids, so it's high pitched screams. It wasn't like you're at a WWE show and you got a mixture of adults and kids. It's just kids screaming.
Yeah, all the wow, that must have been bursted your eardrum right there.
Oh, tell me about it. But you know, it was what it was, and you know, at the same time, you know what, you're playing hockey, so I'm not going to complain.
Exactly. So then you go on to play hockey overseas in the AIHL for the Perth Thunder. So like you made a bunch of trips over there throughout your career so far. So like, what was that experience like, and the differences you noticed from going in North America to Perth?
You got another 2 hours?
Oh yeah, we got all the time.
Oh man. Well, I'm just going to tell you about hockey in Australia in general. I won't just talk about Perth. But look, first off, let me say this. Any guy that gets the chance to go play in the Australian League or even the New Zealand League, go do it. You'll have the time of your life, that's for sure. Now, the the things that threw me off, I might not even tell you this stuff in order, but I'll tell you about like my first time there.
Go for it. Let's go.
So first day there, I flew into Sydney because we were playing 2 games there first. So we get to the rink and I see the rink and I'm just like, is there another pad here? Another ice surface? They're like, no. Why? It's like, how come there's no glass? And like, oh, this room doesn't have glass. It's just boards and mesh. And I'm just like, okay. So I'm playing in a rink where there's no glass, just boards and mesh. And then I see the nets, the pegs, well, were non-existent. The posts were like this big around.
Wow.
They looked like road hockey nets. And there was no pegs. That was just this rink. All the other rinks had normal nets. Thank goodness.
At least at least you had normal nets.
Yeah. So then, after the game, I'm just like, okay, like where do we shower? Like, oh, the showers are down there at the other end of the rink. So now I gotta walk from one side of the rink all the way to the other. And I look at my one of the guys. I'm like, where are the towels? Like, oh, you got to bring your own. I'm just like, I didn't know that either. So I'm carrying another guy's towel. So then I walk down to the other end of the rink, do a shower. There's one shower head in this bathroom, and we're sharing it with the other team. We're
having bad blood there.
Oh my god! But that's the thing. There's maybe 2 guys in the Australian league, maybe if not just one, that nobody likes. Maybe. Other than that, everybody gets along with everybody. Everybody's fans get along with everybody. There's no hatred or anything in that league. Like on the ice, yeah, you're gonna push and shove and get into it with guys, but there's just nothing but love from those people. Like the Australian fans and the players, the staff, they're all amazing. But like, yeah, some of those ranks are insane. The capital team, Canberra, their rank is smaller than ours in Knoxville. And ours here, I don't know if you've ever seen it or been in it, but it's about 3/4 the size of a normal rink.
Yeah.
Canberra's rink is even smaller.
I didn't think they could go smaller.
It's smaller, and they have no glass either. They have mesh, but in one end, there's chicken wire.
Oh my.
Yeah. Another rink. One rink in Adelaide has all 3 boards that go as high as glass in one certain spot, and just mesh.
What the hell?
And in Adelaide, their bench is like a dugout. Fans sit right on top of the bench. Like guys that are 6'2" can't hop the bench because the window is only like this big.
Wow. That what? I cannot imagine that. Like, especially like the 3 and like the board, the glass, and then the mesh. Like, what the hell's going on there?
They're just these older rinks that just were not really built for hockey, you know? And like they don't, like a couple of teams, like they're working on getting new rinks. Like Perth, their rink is only like 10 years old now, but they didn't do it right, and the rink looks like it was built in the 80s.
Wow.
Like even in Sydney, where that rink I told you about, they don't play there anymore. They play at a rink that's inside a mall now, which is a lot nicer. But there's no glass there either, and they can easily get boards put glass. Just they don't have the funding to do it, and the places that actually own these rinks, they don't want to put money into these places. And so some teams are working on getting like their own rinks and having glass. Like Melbourne, where the 2 Melbourne teams play, they got a brand new rink that the city built, and they made sure that one ice pad was made just for hockey. So it's good glass and everything like that. Like it's almost like an ice sports arena type feel, and but it's nice. I think it was like an $88 million rink.
That's pretty good.
But it's owned by the city, right? But
yeah,
and some other teams like Canberra's looking to do it. One of the Sydney teams is looking to do it, I think, too. Might be, that's what I've heard at least. Adelaide is supposed to be getting a brand new one as well. But you never know. But that's probably the craziest thing over there is just some of the rinks that you play in. But like I said, but they're fun to play in though.
Yeah, I imagine they're fun, super fun to play in. Like the experiences there must have been incredible, and it seems like they're improving the rinks too a little bit here and there. So that's at least good, in that they're trying to like get more funding and all that, and just get more into the buildings. That's a good sign.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but again, like things do got to get. The only thing I would complain about over there is their reffing situation. The reffing situation over there sucks. They might have 2 good refs and that's it.
Wow, that must be a shit show playing in.
Oh, I've suggested this to the league too, and I don't even think they're considering it. But I said all you have to do is bring in do the same thing that teams do with import players. Bring in import refs.
Yeah, that'll definitely improve it.
Each ref should be an import, and then the linesmen can be local guys. And the import refs teach them how to do their job properly.
Yeah, that'll definitely improve their reffing system for sure.
Yeah, but they don't want to. The league itself would be the ones having to spend the money on these refs, and they don't want to do that.
That is true. Just that's crazy. Like that experience that you had in Australia and just everything that went around it. So like, what was it like playing? Did the puck go up to like the mesh, like on a ring around? Like what would that feel like?
Yeah, like I would ask, like one of the first times I asked her, like, what do you do if the puck goes up into the mesh? Like, oh, we have to just judgment call. If we think it went too high, like it would really go into the mesh. So sometimes it would go all the way to the top of the mesh and they wouldn't blow it down.
Wow.
Like just stuff like one game, the neck, my neck got pushed off. It was off by like 2 or 3 feet, and the team puts the puck in the net. They call it a goal.
What?
And it was,
wow.
And it's not like one of those plays where I slid over and they shot it at like just after the net came off, because some places they still call it a goal because the pegs are really shitty and all that.
Yeah.
The net was off for a good 10 seconds. And ref said, I can't blow it down the play just because the net's off. That's what he said to me.
What? But that's so weird to get my head around. Like the net is completely off and it's still a goal. Like that. How does that work?
This ref and told him, I don't know, but I actually looked at this ref and I looked at him dead in the eyes. I said, "You're an idiot." And he did nothing because he was just in shock that I said that to him.
Wow, that's crazy. And just I literally cannot see that, and like, because like if that happens in a game around here, like it's getting dead all the time.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. That's why they need to bring in import refs that are actually going to do a good job
and actually know the game and actually know how to call a good game. But,
exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy. So then going into the following years in 2015-16, you did a lot of traveling between the SP and the ECHL. You started out in Mississippi once again, and then you got loaned out to Colorado, Fort Wayne Comets, Allen Americans, and the Adirondack Thunder. So like, what was that year like going for you and going between the leagues and like getting loaned out to different teams at different times?
Yeah, that year was pretty hectic travel-wise, but luckily I was flying everywhere that I went. I didn't have my car with me at the time, so Colorado flew me out. When they released me, Fort Wayne flew me there. They flew me back to Mississippi. Allen flew me into Allen from Mississippi and everything. So, but it was awesome though. Like anytime a team called me, I'm like, yeah, I'm coming. Like I wanted to be in ECHL. And I like even today, I know I can still play in the ECHL, no problem, right? But you know what, I'm happy, and I'm happy with being in the SP, and I want to be the best goalie in the SPHL, and I've shown that time after time with my play, and it's just my time in ECHL. I can't really say anything negative about it. I had my opportunities, and unfortunately, I never have to stick anywhere. But at the end of the day, like, I got to travel around America. So
That is true. Just traveling to different places must have been unreal, and just like seeing new places, new faces, new teams, new barns. Like, it must have been a great experience overall, and just to play as well.
yeah, definitely, especially playing in a couple of different divisions, going out to different teams' ranks and all that too, right? So, and when I was with Adirondack, I actually got to play against Brampton in Brampton, so my whole family got to see me play a pro game in the ECHL.
That's awesome. That's a memory that you'll take with you forever, for sure.
Oh, definitely, especially when we won the games 5-2.
That's pretty great too.
Yeah.
So, like, throughout your time, like the SB and the ECHL, like, what's the biggest difference that you notice from the SPHL game and the ECHL game?
Just like with any league, it's the speed for sure. Guys are tougher in the ECHL as well. And in the ECHL, especially with all the teams that have affiliates, that have the NHL affiliates, they all try to play the same style in terms of like whatever you want to look at, neutral zone plays, the offensive power play, PK. They all want their teams playing the same systems. So everybody's pretty much on the same page with everything like that. And in the ECHL, you got guys coming down from the AHL too that may have gotten a game in the NHL at some point in the season as well. You never really know. So definitely much harder game to play in the ECHL. But depending on who you are, and like for someone like me who's been around it, I find that I can adjust pretty well. Especially like in the summer times when I'm training with NHL and AHL guys throughout the summer as well. So I feel like I can decently keep up with them, especially I know practice is different than games, but at the end of the day, like, I've been doing this for so long, I feel like I can transition pretty easily.
Yeah, that's always a good sign when you know that you can transition pretty easily, because I bet in the start when you first started, like, it was a bit hard to transition from the ECHL and then the SPHL and like that side of the game.
Yeah, definitely. Like especially like I've been to Brampton's camp 3 times, and I've been to Allen's training camp, and there's guys that I've been with at camp, and I'm just like, I know that I'm better than these guys, but they're getting they're getting a better chance than I am because they're fresh, and I'm an SP guy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, at times, like, I'm just here to be at camp and get ready to go back to my SP team. I'm not here to play. I'm here to show what I can do, and then maybe something will come out of it in the future. But if not, oh well. I'm just going to go back to where I was and just keep doing my thing.
Yeah, exactly. You have a spot with your team already, so you just go back, and it doesn't matter where you end up. You obviously want to end up in the coast, but you have a team in the SP if it does happen like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so then through like 2018 to 2020, you played for the Quad City Storms. Like, how special was being in Quad City like for you, and just playing for the Storm for so long?
Quad City is awesome. It's definitely a place like that I can call home. We've my wife and we've created a lot of friendships there. We got a lot of ties there, like a lot of close relationships. And when we're there, it just feels natural to us. It's the first city we've ever lived in together. So, and just things there are just so simple for us. It's such a great hockey town too. They got a lot of hockey history there. So, Quad City is definitely up there on my top 10 list.
Yeah,
top 5.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome that you feel comfortable in Quad City. So I have a few more questions for you before we get this thing over with. So, like, what has been your favorite city that you visited throughout your career so far?
The best place I've ever visited to play, like the city wise or like rink wise?
Let's go rink wise.
Rink wise, In pro hockey, the best rink I've played at, or just my career. In the OHL, I got to play at the London Knights rink, and they hold 10,000 fans a night. So that's probably the best rink in the OHL that I played at. Pro, Mississippi's rink was so nice. Just unfortunate we never got like a true sold out crowd. Like, I'm sorry, kids, but I can't count those field trip games.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But craziest place to play, like, in my craziest, it's like because of the way the rink is Knoxville, where I am now, and playing for Knoxville in this rink. I wish we had a sold out crowd, because playing against the team is like my second year in the league when I was in Mississippi. We played Knoxville in the finals, and a sold out barn here is insane. Like, the fans are so into it. They're right on top of you. Like, they got a great fan base here too.
Yeah, I can only imagine that, and just being around like that fan atmosphere, especially in Knoxville, must be unreal.
Yeah, but living wise, the best place I lived in is Pensacola. I lived on the beach.
That's not a bad spot to live.
Not at all.
Yeah. So my next question for you is, I heard from one of our guests that you give the boys in Knoxville haircuts. So how's that?
I've been doing that since I was in Fayetteville. So when I was in Australia, it's like one of the first years I really started growing out my beard, and I recently trimmed it. I was like 6 inches longer than this before I just trimmed it. But I was getting into like the beard care routines, and that led to seeing like how to trim it properly and other haircut videos from these beard companies. And I said to myself, man, I can do that if I go nowhere with hockey. Like, it seems I can make it simple enough for myself. And I just got the tools, and I would practice on my roommates and some of my teammates in Australia. And then eventually I got like more of the proper tools when I got back home, and it just took off from there. So I've just been, everywhere I go, I just take care of the boys. Whoever wants one can get one.
That's awesome. You always got to take care of the boys no matter what. So that's a huge thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Tyler, do you have any more questions for Pete before we get this thing done with?
Yeah. When you started playing hockey growing up, was there a certain player that you idolized or looked up to?
Patrick Roy. 100% Patrick Roy. My whole family is Montreal Canadiens fans, and my dad would always tell me to watch Roy and that, so I wanted to be Roy.
I haven't seen him in games besides like as a coach, but from like just videos, like he seems like an unreal guy, and like I loved his feistiness too, and especially when he got in those goalie fights. Like,
oh yeah,
those were good times to watch whenever you're bored. That's for sure.
Definitely, I've seen him play at Maple Leaf Gardens when I was a kid. I've actually seen him play in Edmonton when I went to visit family out there when I was a kid, when he was in Colorado too. And I was actually this close to meeting him once. When my draft year to the NHL, I actually went to Montreal for the draft. I was on the list, and he was sitting 4 rows below me.
Dang. That would have been a nice person to meet for sure.
I know, but you know what? He was there to see his players get drafted and see who gets drafted where. I didn't want to bug him or anything. I asked for a picture, like, because I can only imagine what he gets sometimes from like paparazzi and stuff. So I just let him be.
Yeah, that's smart. And just like, probably if you would go up to him, everyone would go up to him after, and it'd be a whole distraction thing from there.
Oh yeah, there was some memorabilia guys there asking him to sign stuff, and he signed a couple of things and all that. But again, I just didn't want to add something else to him that he wasn't there for.
Yeah, that's smart. So, Peter, this has been so much fun. Thank you again for joining us. Love the nickname, the Mad Dog, and like, I appreciate you coming on. Like, I want to wish you the best of luck with your season in Knoxville this year and the rest of your career. And I look forward to watching you play from now on.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem.